Hey guys, it's Timmy. This is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 17th of February 2020 to talk about everything that went down tonight on Monday Night Raw. And to be completely honest with you guys, I really didn't think tonight's Raw was all that great of a show. I really didn't. I thought the show could have been a whole lot better. The show, to me, it felt like this show was one of those Vince McMahon shows where he saw the script, said, I don't like it, ripped it up and said, redo it. Keep this and this, but nothing else. That's what it felt like to me, that this was a day of written show, to be completely honest. Luke Pataki in the live chat says, I thought MVP was done wrestling. Again, why I thought a lot of stuff today was a last-minute thing. Also, if I do seem a little not all there, a little out of it, is because of the incident that happened at the end of the NASCAR race, the end of the Daytona 500. Ryan Newman was involved in a very terrible crash. Took them a lot of time to get him out of the race car. Then they had to rush him to the hospital. They stated that he is in serious condition with no life-threatening injuries, so that's good. I wish everyone prays for Ryan Newman and his family. He does have a wife and 2 young daughters. So I'm still kind of reeling with that, as that happened literally the closing moments of the Daytona 500 right before Monday Night Raw came on the air. So again, I want to send my thoughts and prayers to the entire Newman family and everyone at Roush Fenway Racing and the NASCAR community as well. So we just hope that Newman is going to be okay. He's at the hospital right now in Daytona, Florida. And we send our prayers to everybody there, hoping that he can make it through this. I don't think he's going to race next week. It doesn't sound like it. I don't know when he's going to get back in the 6th car. But we're here to talk about wrestling. We're here to talk about Monday Night Raw. And tonight's Monday Night Raw, well, it kicked off with Randy frickin' Orton. Randy Orton came out. Actually, I forgot something. We got to see who's here with us in the live chat. I apologize. We've got Henry Cavallo, Kristen McNutt, Eric Chamber, Dontrell Bailey, Nelson, Derek Bocek, King Slender Limbo. We've also got Glenn Hunt, Sinclair Saturday, Vanessa Escobar, Anthony, I'm going to butcher your last name, buddy, Anthony Montejano, Robbie Rice, Wayne Montgomery, and so many more of you. Thank you guys for joining me here. Like I stated, Randy Orton opened up tonight's Monday Night Raw. Randy entered the arena as they ran down the card for tonight's show, which actually included MVP taking on Drew McIntyre. And I know what you're going to say. Hey, I thought MVP was done wrestling. I thought that too. But I guess call on the fly. Hey, we need you to wrestle tonight, bud, because it works from what happened last week. I heard there was a number of rewrites today. That's all I can say, because that's all I really know. That there was a lot of stuff rewritten at some point today. So Orton was loudly booed. He pointed to a screen and a video package replayed last week's angle with Matt Hardy. They came back live and continued booing. Orton said he's supposed to face Hardy tonight in a no-holds-barred match, but that's not going to happen after the actions of last week. He said Hardy is here and he's in the back trying to get cleared by doctors. He said the Hardys are known for taking the largest of leaps and crashing to the lowest of lows. Matt would then interrupt. Matt came down in a neck brace and street clothes. He demanded to know what the hell is wrong with Randy Orton. A few people chanted, "What the hell?" Hardy said that he came here to fight, but the doctors won't clear him for an actual match. However, just like Edge, he has grit, and Matt Hardy will never die. He said guys like him and Edge will always get back up. Hardy said that he didn't know what his future holds, but he didn't want it to be determined by Orton and on Orton's terms. He basically said he wants to go out on his own. He wants to do what he wants. Orton is not going to injure him badly or bad enough to where, I guess you could say, Orton's not going to injure him bad enough to where he's got to end his career. I guess that's what you can say. So, Matt eventually got in the ring. Orton told him he should just quit. Last week should have been it. Leave on your own 2 feet. Orton wondered what Matt Hardy would possibly do if he went for another RKO. Just right now, what would you do if I laid you out, he said. Orton said nobody would ever understand what he did to Edge and why. He said, Matt, I respect you, and I always have. But it's more than that with Edge. I respect him, and I love him like a brother. Orton said that he was sorry and left the ring. As Orton goes up on the stage, Matt Hardy would go over to the production area and grab a chair before re-entering the ring. Orton removed his vest and sauntered back and forth. Orton leaped up on the apron and Hardy took a swing. Orton ducked and necked him on the top rope. Orton then planted him with an RKO, and the crowd started booing. Most of the crowd booed, but we heard a little slight RKO chant. Orton grabbed a chair and smashed Hardy in the back a few times. Orton used the edge of the chair on Hardy's midsection, then hit him in the back one more time. Orton removed the brace and set Matt Hardy for a concerto as 2 referees pleaded for him to stop. Orton dropped the chair and he left without doing anything. But then he ran back in. Orton then yanked Hardy from the ring, placed his head on the steel steps, and gave him a concerto. Or should I say, never mind. A concerto on the steps. I was going to try and think of a clever name for it, but it's just a concerto on the steps. For some reason, a few people chanted one more time. Orton then gave him another and yelled, I'm sorry, before marching off. After the break, they showed Matt Hardy being carried out on a stretcher as the announcers recapped what had happened in a serious tone. Give me 1 second, guys. I need to check something here. Alright, never mind. And so they showed a kid hanging his head. Brian Alvarez was actually there live at the show and stated that there was a kid in the front row crying during all of this. Very, very, very well done by both men. So the next up, we got Aleister Black and Eric Young, who probably had, well, not Aleister Black, because he had a lot of long matches with Buddy Murphy, or should I say Murphy? But probably one of the longer matches I've seen in a long time from Eric Rowan. Thank you, Luke Petit, for the super chat donation. He said, will Seth Rollins have a match at Mania? Well, duh. And Jose Herrera with the super chat donation. He says, why did Monday Night Raw had too much talking? So he's basically asking, why was there so many talking segments on tonight's Raw? Who knows? Like I said, there was a number of things rewritten during the day. So the reason they're doing this match is because both men are in the gauntlet match, and they called this a preview for the Super Showdown gauntlet match. Let me reposition my... They called this a preview. So Black tried using quick strikes, but Rowan knocked him down with the running crossbody on the outside and then went to break about 30 seconds in. After the break, Black used strikes, but Rowan caught him with a slam and only got a 2 off of it. Rowan grabbed Black and clumsily swung him into the barricade. Black used a leg scissor to send Rowan into the post, then a moonsault. Black followed this up with a lifting knee strike and a near fall. Rowan blocked a Black Mass attempt. Then Black blocked a claw slam. Black used strikes, but Rowan hit a powerbomb for a close near fall. Black slipped out of a claw slam and nailed the Black Mass. Rowan bounced off the ropes and fell to a knee, but was not down. Black then gave him another Black Mass for the pinfall victory. So it took 2 times to hit the Black Mass and defeat him, which I like that. It shows that, yeah, Aleister Black could defeat guys a lot of times with the black mass. But this guy is so big, he had to hit him twice. They then plugged Roderick Strong vs. Velveteen Dream this coming week on NXT. Up next was Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair mentioned that she was at NXT TakeOver last night in Portland, and then she pointed to the screen as well. They aired a replay. So they aired the replay showing her attacking Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. Mainly Rhea Ripley. Charlotte says she went to NXT because she wanted to know who was putting it in. Wait, how did I write this? My bad, I have this written wrong. I got it now. She says she went to NXT TakeOver because she wanted to know who was the one that gave Rhea Ripley the bright idea to think that she can challenge her at WrestleMania. She said while she was there, she began to reminisce about her time there and what her class built to eventually become a third brand. She was mad about the entitlement of someone like Rhea Ripley, who didn't fight or claw and scratch to earn the respect that she did. Like, really? Charlotte Flair talking about entitlement? Okay. She couldn't believe Rhea Ripley's audacity to show up on Raw and challenge her while holding the title that she put on the map. Not really, because Charlotte was, yes, she was the NXT champion, but she wasn't the champion for that long, to be completely honest. Charlotte thought Ripley was good, even very good, but Charlotte would humble her at WrestleMania. She concluded with, and I quote, everyone is the next big thing until they're not. I didn't think the promo was that great, to be completely honest. So next up, we had Riddick Moss. He defeated Mojo Rawley and R-Truth to retain the 24/7 championship in under 2 minutes. Nobody got an entrance. Moss won quickly by rolling up Mojo. The only notable spot was Truth doing John Cena's usual comeback sequence. Moss left through the crowd after winning. Rawley tried to attack Truth afterwards, but Truth gave him a scissor kick for his own well-being. They then told us that via the rap earlier today, a women's Elimination Chamber match was announced for Elimination Chamber. In this match, we will see Natalya, Liv Morgan, Shayna Baszler, Asuka, Ruby Riott, and Sarah Logan all battle it out with the winner moving on to WrestleMania to challenge Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. And if you don't think it's Shayna Baszler, then you're living on another planet, to be honest. It's going to be Shayna Baszler picking up the victory and winning and challenging. I mean, she's got to be challenging Becky at WrestleMania. She has to. Next up, we got McIntyre. Drew McIntyre came out and said there's only 48 days for WrestleMania. He said he was tempted to point at the sign. Well, Charlotte did that already tonight. So he wanted to do something different. He counted down from 3, 2, 1, and the crowd pointed along with him. McIntyre said that Suplex City is actually located in Claymore country, and he was going to demolish that bitch down. Not the first time we heard a swear word on the show tonight. So Paul Heyman would come out and tease that Brock Lesnar was here. He said everyone wanted this night to be bigger, so he was going to give them the Beast. He introduced Brock Lesnar, did all of his stuff, and then said, he's not really here. He said, that is actually what you're going to hear, along with the and still WWE Champion at WrestleMania. He said that Lesnar will defeat Ricochet at Super Showdown and then defeat McIntyre come Mania. McIntyre warned Heyman that he would be saying Lesnar's name when Lesnar is crying after he kicks his head off at WrestleMania and takes the belt. Heyman admired McIntyre's talents, but his opponent tonight, really didn't. And then he introduces MVP. MVP would come out and he said that he was annoyed that he showed McIntyre all the respect last week. He said they're old friends, but McIntyre cheap shotted him. MVP said that he would whoop his ass tonight, and then he gave him a cheap shot with a microphone. MVP nailed him with a running kick in the corner. The referee checked out McIntyre, and then we started off this match. So we got a literally minute, 10-second match between McIntyre and MVP. McIntyre immediately booted MVP when the bell rang. MVP had brief offense. I mean, how brief can you have? I mean, how much offense can you have in less than a minute? But he did. McIntyre then gave him a future shock DDT, 3-2-1 Claymore kick, and pinned him. That was it. They then confirmed that Goldberg will be on SmackDown this week. Still haven't said if he's going to be there live in the building or if he's just going to be via satellite again. And then Becky came out. This was kind of weird. They aired a recap of the Baszler-Becky Lynch angle from last week. Then Lynch entered holding a paper bag. Lynch had a bandage on her neck still, so she's still selling the bite from last week. It ain't still bleeding. Why do you need the bandage? Maybe some little dust particles don't get in the cut or the bite. Lynch said that she has no use for fame, but did figure out what to do with all the fortune she's gotten. She then yanked out $100 bills from the paper bag and dropped him in the ring. She said this is future-proof, basically. She's paying the fine up front for what is going to be coming to her when she gets her hands on Shayna Baszler. Lynch said only animals go for the neck, and it was to weaken their prey before they finish them. Lynch wanted Baszler to take a good look at the pretty face of the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion in history. She said, "Do I look pretty to you?" She made specific mentions of all the women she defeated with the title, including Ronda Rousey. Lynch said she was coming after Baszler when Baszler would appear on the screen. Baszler said the chamber match was in a cage, and well, she comes from fighting in a cage. She said everything seems to just be lined up perfectly for me to get you at WrestleMania. She quipped that she would chew through everyone. Baszler said that she didn't actually plan on biting her last week. It just kinda happened. Then she warned her that she did have a plan. She said, "Last week I didn't, but when I get you at Mania, I have a plan, and I'm even more devastating and more ruthless then." Baszler then said that she would tear the shit out of Lynch. Lynch said she was rooting for her to win at the Elimination Chamber. This is okay, kind of weird with the whole, "I'm going to throw down the money" kind of deal. I've got so much money, I'm going to pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars now. Whatever. And then in something that didn't get over with the live crowd, and was kind of meh. Charlotte Russo interviewed Lana, Bobby Lashley, Zelina Vega, and Angel Garza. So Lana said that she got a great idea last Friday on Valentine's Day. She wanted to do a double date. Her and Bobby, Zelina and Garza, and Zelina got this look on her face double date? What? No. Vega said, "I'm happy for you and your husband," but admitted that she and Garza were hot, but it's strictly business. So Zelina Vega thinks they're two hot people, but they're not hot for each other, I guess you can say. Garza said no woman would tie him down. Okay. We don't watch NXT. They didn't show the replay of you in proposing to your girlfriend, buddy boy. He said no man could match up to him. So kind of whoever wrote that doesn't watch NXT, doesn't know that he proposed to his girlfriend at Full Sail, and then after a commercial break, they aired it on the damn show. Anyways, we got Bobby Lashley and Angel Garza against Rusev and Humberto Carrillo. Match went just shy of 10 minutes. Garza ripped off his pants and chucked them at Rusev before going to the outside and asking the crowd who wanted to give him a kiss. A woman rushed to the barricade and kissed him on the cheek. As Garza gloated, Carrillo wiped him out with the suicide dive. Kind of a funny spot. Shortly after commercial break, Rusev made a hot tag and gave Garza an overhead belly-to-belly suplex. running charge, and another overhead suplex. Lashley tried breaking up the cover, but Rusev moved and Lashley hit Garza. As Rusev went after Lashley, Garza gave him a super kick, but Carrillo broke up the cover. Now, throughout this match, on commentary, they kept saying how heated it is between Bobby Lashley and Rusev. How Rusev just wants to get his hands on Bobby Lashley for what he did to him and stealing his wife. But correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Rusev sit there at one point when he signed his divorce papers, feet up on the table and everything, and say, I'm happy to get rid of you. I'm happy that you're Bobby's problem now. Didn't he? Again, continuity, people. It's called making sure you don't say things that contradict things that have already happened. So Carrillo took out Garza with a dive. Lashley speared Carrillo, and then Rusev ran over Lashley. The crowd chanted Rusev Day. Rusev gave Garza a diving headbutt, only got a near fall off of it. Lashley jumped on the apron, so Rusev gave him a machka kick. He then gave Garza Garza schoolboyed him, grabbed the tights, and pinned Rusev. Yeah, Rusev got pinned by Angel Garza. Garza celebrated, and then Rusev knocked him out of the ring. Okay, cool. They let us know that tomorrow night, Keith Lee will be on WWE Backstage with Renee Young, Booker T, and Mark Henry. So it looks like Mark Henry might be replacing Christian this week. Christian could still be on the show. I don't know, just assuming. We then had Kairi Sane take on Natalya, which I don't know why it wasn't Asuka and Natalya, because that could have been a quote-unquote preview for Elimination Chamber, but whatever. They replayed Asuka's stiff kick to Natalya, resulting in a black eye recently. Asuka, well, I guess that's why you don't do Asuka again, because they just did that match, so never mind. Asuka and Sane mocked Natalya before the match and asked if she was okay. They clarified that they didn't care, and they clarified that they didn't care if she was okay by chanting, "We don't care, we don't care." So it looks like, I guess the Kabuki Warriors are the new Iconics. Or maybe they're the Japanese version of the Iconics. Either way, we haven't seen the actual Iconics in months. Asuka said that she would beat Natalya in the chamber and then move on to WrestleMania. Natalya would apply the sharpshooter early on in this match, but Asuka was on the apron and went after her for some reason. Like literally, she's got the sharpshooter in. Asuka jumps up on the apron. So what does Natty do? Just says, fuck my opponent. I'm going to go after you instead. Idiot. Asuka avoided getting hit. Then Natalya and Sane managed to hit each other at the same time. As the ref checked on Sane, Asuka kicked Natalya in the head on the outside. There were chants for Asuka, so she danced around Natalya's body. Natalya was then counted out, and Kairi Sane picked up the victory. Match went less than 5 minutes, and it wasn't all that good. Then, we've got the sermon of Seth Rollins. So AOP and Buddy Murphy were already in the ring to start this off, and Murphy introduced the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins. Give me 1 second. Iconics. Kristen, I have not heard that at all. I don't know anything about why they've not been gone. I don't know if it had to do with the wildfires. I haven't heard they're going to be repackaged. I don't know where you heard any of that. Because A, I haven't heard that, and B, I haven't seen anybody report that. So Rollins came out, and a fan held up a sign that said Monday Night Mormon. I guess they don't really know what a Mormon is. So he started shaking the hands of people in the front row. Rollins thanked everyone for joining him and clarified that he did not use the word sermon. He simply asked for a moment to speak. Sinclair Saturday says, what is a sermon? A sermon is basically, I guess it's like, I'm not a church guy, so I don't know exactly. But a sermon is basically like what the pastor does on any given day. Or any given, church day. I don't go to church. I've been to church twice in my entire life and fell asleep one of the times. So I don't even know exactly how you would explain it. But the sermon is basically you got everybody in the church and the pastor or the reverend, whatever he's called, depending on your religion, gives his lesson for the day or whatever. That's what I've always thought a sermon is. So Rollins knew that this movement would face some resistance, but they completed Phase 1 last week. The crowd chanted, "You suck." Rollins politely asked them to show some respect. Rollins said that they completed Phase 1 when they defeated Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and the Viking Raiders. They proved that you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to. He said that his brothers and sisters, well, they need to rejoice and join him. I'm getting a lot of straight edge society vibes here. Rollins then said that he takes being their Messiah very seriously and Phase 2 would not be easy. He said that it was time to seek out the weak and the non-compliant, and if they can, and help them rehabilitate themselves. He said, this wasn't a warning or a threat. This was a message from the heart. This was the gospel. So to me, Seth Rollins is the more religious version of the Dark Order. No? Yes? Do you agree? Because he's like, I want to help the people that are down and out of luck get back up on their feet. Well, what is the Dark Order? They want all the people that keep losing, they want to help them find success again. So Seth Rollins is just the more religious version of the Dark Order. John Elite says, Tim, it's a lesson the pastor teaches at church. Okay, cool. Again, I've only been to church twice, fell asleep once. I don't know. I'm not a religious man. So as he continued, the Viking Raiders ran out and wasted no time getting in the ring. They attacked the AOP and Rollins bailed and had Murphy fight for him. Excuse me. Viking Raiders took them out as Rollins watched from the stage, and suddenly Kevin Owens appeared and gave him a stunner. I really didn't get this. I felt like he said nothing of note. He did nothing of importance. If this was cut from the show, then it wouldn't have been missed, to be honest. I mean, I guess it set up the main event. But you could have just announced that match. And it would have done the same. So, I don't freaking know. No, Seth Rollins does not look like Flip Gordon. So in the back, Rollins and his crew were approached by Charlie Caruso, and Rollins was very annoyed to see her. Rollins said if Owens and the Raiders wanted a fight, they would get it tonight. They could face AOP and Murphy. So then, AJ Styles and the OC came out. Great to see AJ's back. Before we talk about that, we got a couple text messages I want to read. If you guys want to send in your thoughts, you can do so at 510-906-1341. Again, text your thoughts into 510-906-1341. This text message here does state, Tim, are you over the Monday Night Messiah like I am? I'm indifferent about it, to be completely honest. It's whatever. He needed a new gimmick. He couldn't just be happy-go-lucky Seth Rollins anymore, I guess. So, hey, we'll see where it leads to in the end. I at least want to see how it all eventually plays out. Where it says Shayna winning the women's chamber match is more obvious than Roman winning the men's. I guess you could say that. Person says, not Raw related, but Finn being healed, do you think he'll bring in the War Paint Demon? I always personally thought that gimmick naturally fit a heel. I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, it works almost better for a babyface because the crowd loves it, and a heel doesn't want to do things that the fans love. Not doing any fantasy booking tonight, guys, so... This person's got a fantasy booking question about NXT. I'm not going to deep dive into that on a Raw podcast. So back to Raw. AJ Styles would come out with the OC. Luke Gallows said that Uncle Allen was the best when it's WrestleMania season, and he pointed to the sign. Karl Anderson said that Styles was the new Mr. WrestleMania. Styles humbly said that he's the best superstar on any roster, but unbelievably, he has a few critics, he said. Styles said that he would win the gauntlet match and nobody could say anything except, well, he's going to win. Then he would be saying, who's next? He said the WWE champion and then didn't care who it was. Was it Brock? Whether it's McIntyre, whether it's Ricochet, Roman, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, whether it's Ramon, Diesel, Hogan, Sting, anybody. Ricochet would then interrupt. Styles said that he was just being a nice when he mentioned Ricochet's name, but nobody thinks he has a chance on beating Lesnar. A few people booed. Styles wondered what he did to actually deserve the title shot. Ricochet said that he earned his title shot and that he would have beat Lesnar at Super Showdown. Styles and his buddies laughed hysterically. Ricochet challenged Styles to a match, and Anderson said Styles' first match back shouldn't be against a no-good brother, and said that he'll face him instead. So, looks like AJ's back, but not cleared yet to get into the ring, or to get into action. Hopefully he's cleared in time for Super Showdown. So we had a 7-minute match between Ricochet and Karl Anderson. Ricochet did a dive right before we went to break, and did you guys notice? Picture-in-picture tonight for Raw. Styles attacked Ricochet during the break, so he gave Gallows a kick to the head. Ricochet and Anderson went back and forth until Ricochet hit a super kick and sorry, I have this written out of order. Ricochet and Anderson went back and forth until Ricochet hit him with the super kick and then hit him with the 630 to pick up the victory. Again, match was 7 minutes, but there's not much to talk about in that 7 minutes, which means it was only a decent match. Forgettable, some may say. And that's not what you want from Ricochet. Charlie Caruso interviewed Liv Morgan. She felt betrayed when Ruby Riott attacked her. And she said that she doesn't care who's in the Elimination Chamber. She says that she will eliminate Ruby and then move on to WrestleMania. Okay. They then said next week, Raw's in Winnipeg for the first time since July 5th, 2004. And a little bit of history for you guys. Main event of that show was Triple H, Ric Flair, and Eugene. Yeah, you heard me right, Eugene. Defeating Chris Benoit and Edge in a handicap match. A little bit of history for you. That was the last time Raw emanated live from Winnipeg, and that was the big match of the night. Big match of tonight, though, was Kevin Owens and the Viking Raiders against Buddy Murphy, or Murphy. Gonna have to get used to saying Murphy and not Buddy Murphy, and the AOP. Match went about 15 minutes or so. They worked over Owens until he made a hot tag to Ivar. The Viking Raiders double-teamed Razor. Owens then hit a senton for a near fall. Later, Owens gave Murphy a powerbomb, but the cover was broken up. The Raiders each took out a member of the AOP with dives, and then Owens gave Murphy a stunner. About 15 minutes in, Owens had the match all won. Basically, he was ready to pin Buddy Murphy, and what would happen? Rollins would run down, break up the cover, and cause a disqualification. They then took out the Viking Raiders way too easily, and then they focused on Owens. Rollins grabbed a mic and said Owens has crucified them from day one, and now it's time for them to crucify him. They began lifting him up when the Street Profits music would play and they would rush down to the ring. Montez Ford sent Murphy flying with a shoulder block. Rollins bailed and watched his crew get beat up. And I guess hearing the Street Profits music revitalized the Viking Raiders because they all of a sudden jumped up out of nowhere after getting knocked out. They all took out different members of, I guess you could say, the Messiah's group. Owens gave Akam a stunner, and then Ivar and Montez Ford both hit frog splashes. Cool way to finish the show. Crowd seemed very into everything here at the end. They loved Kevin Owens and the Viking Raiders. They loved seeing the Street Profits. So, again, at the end of this show, hot crowd. But with that, we do have a couple more text messages here before we do wrap things up. This person says, with AJ Styles promo tonight, do you think it basically confirms the rumor match of AJ versus The Undertaker? No, it doesn't confirm it, because he basically noted that he wanted a shot at the WWE title no matter who the champion was. So that would if you're going to say that confirmed something, then that would confirm that he wants a title shot possibly after WrestleMania, or he'd be one of the first contenders, challengers after WrestleMania. And this person says, would you say this is the worst? Who would you say is the worst announcer, Corey Graves or Jerry Lawler? That's a tough one. I mean, they're both good in their own way-ish, but I guess if I had to choose, I guess I'd say Lawler. If I had to choose which one was worse, I would go with Jerry Lawler. George John Cox in the chat says, this Raw was just okay. It was just an okay Raw. Sinclair Saturday said they did picture-in-picture last week. I didn't notice it. I didn't notice it at all, to be completely honest. You sure you weren't watching NXT? Because I didn't notice the picture-in-picture last week. Let me see something. I lost my mouse. Looking for something in the chat. Sammy Guevara is better God than Rollins. No, Derek, just because he's... So, I see what you guys are talking about here. Derek Bochev talks about Sammy Guevara is a quote-unquote better God than Seth Rollins. He's the Spanish God. Derek Sinclair Saturday then says that no, you just think that because of the t-shirt thing. Sammy Guevara doesn't have a religious, I guess you could say, gimmick like Seth Rollins does. So you can't really compare the two other than AEW copied Seth Rollins' new t-shirt and made one for Sammy Guevara. But with that, I want to say thank you guys for joining me here tonight to talk about Monday Night Raw. I want to thank everybody who joined and watched later right here on YouTube and listened on podcast services all around the world like iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Not sure if we're going to be live tomorrow. I know we weren't last week. Nick had to work. I don't know if he's got to work again tomorrow or not, but I will be live again Wednesday for sure as we talk about AEW Dynamite. So with that, thank you guys for joining me. Have a good night, and I'll see you next time.